Hey, how you guys do? You ready? In the mixtape.
Bueno, bienvenidos amigos del Mixtape a esta nueva emisión del programa. En esta ocasión tenemos una serie de episodios que van a estar algo interesantes con algunos representantes en el Corona Capital. Y pues esta vez tenemos a dos invitados de una banda que, si no has escuchado hablar de ella, quizá poco a poco vas a empezar a escuchar de ella porque tienen una muy buena propuesta. Y pues estamos con Tim y Michael de Monobloc. How you guys? Well, there's we just there's a lot I want to know,
Yeah.
but I think we should start from the beginning.
Very good.
I think this is your first 24 hours in Mexico, right?
First 24 hours.
You already accomplished it, or you're close to it?
I think we're past it.
What do you mean? 24 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just over 24 hours now. Yeah.
Because yesterday you told us that it was I think 18 hours.
It was a 13-hour plane ride from London, but we were only in London for just under 2 days, coming from Iceland. So basically, we spent the past 5 days of our life probably one whole day in the sky,
Yeah.
which is it does things to your body that I didn't know.
It's like a time travel, right? Because a lot of things can happen like in land and you're still flying. And what can you get?
Exactly.
Yesterday felt like 3 days.
Yeah.
It was like
It's just really like a new city. Like the day feels so much longer than your average day at home or something like that.
It probably can. And how is it your first time in Mexico?
First time.
Never on vacation or
No. I wish, but I think a lot of people from New York always come to Mexico City for shows and stuff. So everyone's been talking about it, and we feel like we're like we're like the rear guard almost to come here, and it's been amazing. The first 24 hours was a very memorable one.
You arrived earlier, right?
It was like 4 a.m. Yeah. So we were like, let's just start our day. Yeah.
And are you liking it? Have you tasted? There's I think that you are gonna have a lot of interviews today.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna get asked a lot about the food. Always. When you come to Mexico, the questioning you about the food is like it's illegal not to do it. Have you got to the chance to try some?
Oh yeah. The coffee's great. Start with that was the first thing, and then we had the tortas with you.
Yeah.
Which was like amazing.
So
and then we realized that that's not really a novel thing. It's all kind of good. So we last night after we were at a buddy's mezcal bar down the street, and because we knew, by proxy we knew the owner. As we're leaving, they come out with a rubber chicken full of mezcal and start putting mezcal down our throats. So then we're all a little,
You started to get a little bit happy.
a little dizzy. Walking home, we just kind of wander into like a little taco spot, and we feasted last night.
and best tacos I've ever had probably. And
it's amazing.
Yeah.
it's
It's
New York
almost...
doesn't really have like great Mexican food compared to like LA. Everyone says it's good, and then New York, it's like not so much. So it's like really good being here and just
and you got the chance to try like
yesterday
kind of real. It's not saying that New York Mexican food is not real, but
no, this is like the real.
Like
I think it's all the little things that are better here with it. It's all like the tortilla is better, and like the meat's cooked perfectly. Like it's seasoned. Like I remember we had that torta, and I just felt like it was like the perfect spicy level. It was a perfect amount of spiciness. Like it was just enough where they kind of would linger the whole thing, and I was like, "That's just so well balanced."
There's a lot of stuff around the spiciness of Mexican food, but okay. So starting up with the kind of the mixtape theme.
Yeah.
I would like to know one by one if it's no problem. We have this common question in here that it's how does your childhood sounded like? If I don't know if whoever wants to start Team Mike.
I'll go.
Yeah.
I think like my earliest memory of listening to music was with my dad, and he had this like Led Zeppelin DVD called The Song Remains the Same. So they were playing at Madison Square Garden, And at the last song in the encore, John Bonham has like this gong behind him that like they light on fire, and he's just like hitting it over and over again. And I think that was like I didn't really know, like it was only like 5 or 6. I didn't really like understand it, but I just like remember it still, and I think that was like what awakened like my interest in music. And then he was always showing me like blues music and like rock and everything. Like he was from Chicago, so he loved like all the blues guitar players from there and stuff. And then like as I got older, I kind of like just got more into like 90s like grunge and indie rock and like alternative rock. And then like when I met Tim, I got into post punk and new wave and all that. And then yeah, I don't know, I didn't really grow up in like a music scene, so it was really just about like the stuff I was finding from like my friends at school and like my family.
And can you mention like some bands of that era of you with post punk?
Oh yeah, like Joy Division,
Yeah.
The Smiths, New Order, so many others. What am I missing?
Just, I mean, it's just like everything.
Everything,
Yeah,
like
every
the whole
listen to it.
genre, like The
Yeah.
Cure. Like as soon as I heard like a chorus
Mhm.
guitar, I was like, oh, like I want to like make stuff like this.
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah, once we kind of got to that point, it
Because
was,
there's, yeah, I had this cliche when I was like, 12 or 13 personality where I was like only like classic rock is the best. Like anything after that is like worse, and like, it took me like I had to kind of get into like the style. Like as I got older, I like understood it better. And now I think it's like I'm definitely more influenced by like the stuff I got into later than like when I was super young. But it was cool, like almost like starting with like the biggest, like the Beatles and Led Zeppelin are like probably like the biggest bands to ever exist.
I mean, Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, and it's like, so I think having that as like the foundation for all my musical interests is like, I just like that's how I'm kind of like how I am, because it's always just like you once you have that, it's like you have kind of like the best. So I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah, it does. It does. It definitely does. You grew up listening more than, because there's a lot of cases that people grew up on a family that it's already very close to music, and in not in this way that listening to. I mean, your first memory of music is a concert DVD. I think it's a
yeah,
it's kind of cool.
yeah, no, it was funny. Like my parents got divorced when I was that young, and so he had like just set up his TV in the house, and he like the first thing he did was set up like his TV and his record player. So I was like going through all of that. So it was like, yeah, good part of that.
Yeah, it sounds nice.
Yeah.
And what about you, Tim?
I kind of grew up playing in like punk and emo bands like really young. When I was like, I think I played my first show like 13, 14.
You started the bands.
Yeah, it was. I grew up in South Jersey. There was like a really healthy kind of punk and hardcore scene, and then I tried doing the hardcore music and everything, and then I started gravitating more to like emo, which is something I usually don't tell everybody, but now the last
We talked
interview.
about it a lot this trip.
Yeah, it's been coming up. But yes, I did spend a lot of time in that kind of way of things, and then it's kind of what got me into music. And then my dad was he kind of showed me a lot of new wave. He just was he almost like held back on it. Like I feel like he never told me he was into new wave music, and then suddenly one day he just like showed me like, I think the first song he showed me was "Girlfriend in a Coma" by the Smiths.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, "This was my favorite song. I remember working on the drill rig, and I put this on, and I was very confused. And I was like, this is what you listen to?" And then he showed me Joy Division, and he showed me like In Excess and The Cure, and that was, I think, like we connected on.
Yeah.
Once we heard a chorus pedal, I think everything changed. I think there was something about it that's so, I don't know, it was really easy to connect with.
Okay, before we jump into the next, I want to know, because you said you started at rock bands.
Yeah.
And I've just recently I've heard this question of they were asking, I don't know, I don't remember the interview, but they were asking about these past bands,
Yeah.
if they had like the name of those bands, because usually those bands are like when you're young.
Yeah, like bad names.
Yeah, they
yeah,
have
yeah.
those crazy names. Do
Yeah.
you remember any of those names?
You know, they were all bad, but they weren't terrible, luckily. I think the first band was called The Alternative. They're just like basic bands. Under the Radar was another one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it was it was like it was just very like lukewarm names. I had one band name that was just like FV. It was just like two letters, like
FV?
FV, kind of like a U2 thing.
Like yeah.
Like it was so
Like-
it was yeah, it was because yeah. And then I think what was another one. White Bridge was another one. So we didn't have any like terrible like kind of punk names.
Yeah, because
Our friends did though.
I've heard ones that literally like blew my mind. It was like a Luna Negra Massacre or something like that.
It's like yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
Like
that's,
the
no one's
edgy
gonna
band
remember
names
that.
it after like some tragedy or something like that.
Yeah, it sounds like
yeah, it's
Okay, so you mentioned the point, both of you, the like the exact point where you guys met.
Mhm.
Do you remember that point? Like when you guys met, how do you guys met? Where and
Yeah. Our
You-
old bands, they played a show together.
yeah.
And well, I don't know. Okay, actually,
It
first
was-
time I met Mop is a pretty funny story because he. Mind if I say it?
Yeah, you say it. Sorry.
Okay. So I'm sitting at this coffee shop with my girlfriend at the time, and she's talking about this guy named Michael who's like in bands. And I should go like meet him. So
This Michael.
this is Michael right here. Yeah. So this guy comes walking down in the coffee shop and he has his leather jacket on. You know, he's got he's like longer hair than he does now. Sunglasses inside, rings on. And I'm like, who's this guy? Wearing sunglasses inside, everything. You know, he's got these gloves on. And then, you know, I'm like, this guy cool guy in me? Like, what's going on? He said like, hey. And then we become friends, you know. And he's just like, oh yeah, I had like a skin reaction that day. That's why I had my sunglasses on inside.
Yeah, like an allergy
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Like,
So he was-
on my face. So I was like
So
covering it up.
you didn't use sunglasses inside everywhere.
He was
No,
a cool
it's
guy.
just
he
for
was just-
that.
yeah.
No, I wouldn't. I'm not. I don't wear sunglasses inside usually. Yeah, but it was
But-
funny, like a first impression like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Because
He's playing in like a blues band at the time too, so I was like, all right, rock man. Yeah.
So do you think music was a catalyst for your relationship? Because you again mentioned some common bands.
Mhm.
Do you guys started talking about music, or when did the music appear in your relationship?
kind of from the start, like
Yeah.
we were both already in previous bands, and then we had like mutual friends basically. And we were kind of at this. We were both like young, like 17, 18. And you're just trying to figure everything out at that stage. And I think we both realized that we wanted something more than our current projects. And then like
Yeah.
we kind of bonded over that like feeling where it was like, oh, I think if we like team up, we can actually like do what we like are trying to get to. Like, so that's how we started our first band together, which was before Monobloc. And then that band kind of like ran its course and then did the move to New York and started Monobloc
Yeah.
like a few years ago or whatever. So yeah, it was kind of always like for music, and then we just ended up being really good friends like in life too.
Mhm.
But it really started like from music first.
I think when you're at that age, when you're like 18, 19, is when you're in this transition period where everyone's in bands. But some people were just in bands because youth. They just want to be in band. You know, you just want to be in a band.
Yeah.
And then you have to kind of find the people who really have the ambition to take it to the next step. And I think it's just like,
Yeah, because it's a big decision, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
and I've heard a lot of bands that it's exactly this point that you grew up with a band, but not all the members have all the
Yeah.
same ambitions.
It's just-
They're just doing it because youth.
yeah, you just,
And then you just
it's
gotta
what,
find
you know, you want to be part of something. And it's, yeah, it's hard to find, you have to find those group of people who are good at playing music together, but also down to like throw their life away for it all. Which is,
sacrifice
yeah.
everything for it, and then
It's
end up
it's a
here 10
gambling.
years
It's
later.
gambling. It's,
yeah, like, oh yeah, it's like a 1% chance we'll ever make our money back, you know, like.
and how did this is the original lineup for
Yeah.
Monobloc, right? Nina.
Mm-hmm.
It's damn. I forgot. I'm
Nina, Ben, and Zach.
Yeah.
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 Ben Sack. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, dude. You're doing great.
And And how did this lineup came up?
So Ben was a good. He's been a long-term friend of ours.
Yep.
He was the video guy. So
He was a video guy.
he was a video guy for our band. So he
Our
did
old
our
band,
music
yeah.
videos. He just started playing guitar, and he got really good at it. And as we were leaving to record the Monobloc stuff, he was just like, well, I guess I could be the guitar player, right? And we're like, oh yeah. And then he just came on the plane with us to go record. Then I met Nina online through TikTok, out of all places. Then we all bond. She was the first person we knew in New York, and I feel like she was starting a project.
I think
And-
if I'm not wrong, it's Speedrun.
Speedrun, yeah. So she needed a band, and we needed a guitar player. And that's where that trade happened. So we were back in band, and then she knew Zach. Her and Zach go like way back. So it's just a fun thing where like everyone in the band has these kind of more like closer ties like outside of it, and thank God it all works. I think everyone really brings something nice to the table.
Yeah,
It's like
it absolutely does.
Secret formula.
Totally.
Because I mean, yesterday we had it's not like out yet, and I don't know when will it drop.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't have a big crowd,
Mm-hmm.
but you made it to connect with that kind of small crowd.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think it's a big deal that even people left the venue happy because they knew they got to know a new band. So yeah, I think you have a nice I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Cool, yeah.
There's something there, right?
Yeah. So that leads me to this next point. And again, you're gonna be have you had an interview?
I think this is our
Before this
third one today.
Oh yeah, it's our third one today.
Okay, so they probably ask you about,
but
this,
not like there was a radio one and then there was another radio one. This is like the podcast format where you can really like converse.
Get into it.
Yeah.
So I think they probably ask you about this, but because I got to know you by the same way, this Corona Capital trailer, that again I heard the song because it is in the video,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, it sounds good, and then I went to Spotify and to all the media to search for more Monobloc music, and I was surprised that there was only I'm just trying to love you. But in that moment, yeah, and I even check the YouTube comments on the video, and there's this guy like asking pretty mad like, how the hell are you gonna work out the Corona Capital set if you only have one song? And
I saw that.
I know. Yeah.
I
We're like,
think-
good point.
yeah, I think it is. But how do you think this Corona Capital thing impacts on Monobloc future, present?
Yeah. You want to go to one stage?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like was a very big opportunity for a band like us. It was so new and had like one song, and I think it's just really like over the past few months, it's like really got us to like make the live show really good and like write songs that are like good for Corona Capital and like the show last night, where it's like really like just can connect with a lot of people and like, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I don't know. I think it like is kind of it matches our ambition to like play a festival like that, and we're really just like, it's good for us because we can like really just do the band the way we want to now and like make it work for that.
Yeah. It gave us a great excuse to take the time to develop a festival set, and I think that's something we always like had in us and wanted to do, and then it was like, here's the purpose for it. But it was also funny because it happened. So this was the first thing we booked when all this madness started happening.
Yeah.
So I just remember, we've only played in small clubs in New York, and then they're like, yeah, you're playing on we opened the festival up. I'm like, oh, we'll probably play like the small side stage. It's like, no, you're like, there is no new artist stage. You're playing on the big one. And we were like, it's such a, I don't know, it's something you don't really believe until you see it kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a good goalpost. And then, then the trailer dropped and we're the song that they were like, yeah, can we use your song? And You see Paul McCartney's name announced.
Did
and
they
you
ask you to
yeah,
release a song?
like
Yeah, we found out like the day before, I think.
The
And
day before,
they
yeah.
just told us they wanted to.
And were you surprised? I mean, because you were in a festival with Paul McCartney.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And they chose Monobloc instead of Paul
Yeah.
McCartney.
Yeah, I was like
it's a
hearing,
bit surreal.
seeing them like in the video announce like they flipped to Paul McCartney on like the vinyl, and it just like it's like mid verse, and it's like this is a weird existence.
Yeah.
when you got the call, if I can call it that way, because yesterday we heard a lot of songs.
Mm.
Right? Not only this, I think it's I'm Just Trying to Love You.
Yeah.
Where's My Garden?
Yep.
And Irish Goodbye, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
How many songs do you already have recorded or?
So we had when we started the band, it was kind of interesting. So we started by just recording like 7 songs, and it was just us at the time.
Mhm.
And then we went and found the band, and basically we'd show them those songs. They'd be like, "Hey, if you like this, you should join the band." And then, you know, that kind of lived on behind closed doors for a while. So we were a band technically like off the record, like no social media for like about like 6 months before I'm Just Trying to Love You dropped. But and then those songs were just being passed around like via SoundCloud and stuff. So yeah, I would say that like in our set, like we said last night with the encore thing, we only had that many songs trained up, ready to go, but we definitely have like tons of stuff for the next phase. Just the kind of like hopefully we get through a record or something.
So is it
So there's-
ready to be dropped?
We have an EP that will be announced very shortly. I don't know when this is coming out, but I think that might time up. And those songs were pretty much everything you heard that night. Like, straight through. And then there'll be some stuff down the road from that, which we don't know how the next stuff will be, but yeah. It's so funny. I think that the music industry pace is so fast that you're like, oh, what's in store? What's in plan? And we're like, we actually don't know.
Okay, so you told us that you already recorded 7 songs, right?
Yeah.
Before the Corona Capital theme appeared in
Yeah.
Monobloc.
But we had the one song out, but everything was the 7 songs were out in other ways. You know, there's a ton of private SoundCloud links out there.
Yeah, because I don't know. I'm not applying pressure,
Yeah.
but I think you'll need it because people will see you and
Want to listen?
yeah, of course. And I mean, I don't know how to say. I put the finger on you because I like the first song, but I don't know how many people will like
Want
continue.
more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a hard and easy time for music
Mm.
that it's very blended with the social media.
Yeah, no.
Uh,
I think that's one reason why we don't have that many songs out. I think there's this weird kind of, especially in America, where the attention spans are so screwed, where you really want to just drip feed songs very slowly. And I think it's just more of like a business strategy part of it why they do that. But it's funny when we were talking about this yesterday, like in Mexico, people just want to consume the music. Like it's like they will listen to the full record right away. And we've been realizing that about like a lot of other markets that we've been playing in, like the UK is very similar, Japan very similar, where it's like people just know they want everything. So yeah, no, I think maybe we'll just we can tip you off with a link and then you do what you put it where you want to put it. Yeah,
that would be cool. because-
Anonymous link.
yeah, we've done that sometimes where we've just been like, oops, I dropped this. Like, so the music is out there if you look hard enough. All 7 songs. It just takes a little while.
Oh,
to
so
find it.
they're already
They're lingering on the internet in
in
places.
somewhere
Yeah.
in the internet.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I can't disclose where
The
they
deep-
are, but
the deep crevices of the internet somewhere.
yeah, you do some snooping, you'll get there.
So I wanted to ask you about this because I don't know, it came to my mind. This idea of I was hearing something that there's like in a particular era where the music and the social media got to blend, and there's this thing happening that now musicians are not only musicians but they got to be a little bit of a influencer.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you guys think about that? What do you, if you see some of that in Monobloc, or do you want to see some of that in Monobloc? Or
I think that it was an error. It was a phase that happened, and it was a way, means to an end. And I think a lot of musicians view it as a means to an end. You just had to do it. I do think that there is a shift happening right now, especially on the internet. I think people don't like when things are directly pandered to them, like looking in the camera and like I'm now. I think they like to kind of feel like they're discovering something, a little more mystery. So I think that Monobloc is trying to play more on that side of things, where we're definitely playing the internet game, because the internet game is everything. It's it's the new world basically. But you don't need to directly pander directly to the camera. I think people like when they feel like they discover something, and there's Easter eggs and there's things you can dig into. Especially as a fan of music, that's what my favorite bands have always been bands that have had this, like, all the information wasn't directly available. You had to take time and like piece the story together. So yeah, I don't know. I think we're trying to emulate that style, and I think that, for example, I've noticed like this kind of trend in TikToks recently, where during like the pandemic years, it was very like someone lip singing a song directly to you, and now I think we're on the come down of that, where now it's like a grainy video on an iPhone, not posted by the artist, posted by somebody in the crowd. And then it's like this like FOMO kind of thing where you're like, where is that? Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah. Mystery's nice.
It's also like, I feel like you don't want to like have your band just turned into like a TikTok trend. Yeah. I think that like happens so much now, where it's like, oh, there's this 30 seconds of the song, or like everyone's using it, and then next week there's like a new song where everyone's doing it. And you
gotta make the same print, right?
So it's like, I think by like leaving a little more in mystery, it like makes it more of like a long-term like project, and not just like putting it all out there really fast and then it's like gone on to the next thing.
You can't control virality. If it happens, it happens, and we'll be very happy if it does. So of course, just gotta have to stick your own pace. And
yeah.
Because I mean, you grew up listening. I don't know. Do you grew up listening to Zeppelin? Just for an example.
To
Zeppelin, Led Zeppelin.
Oh, is that no? Not really, actually. But the reason why I finally, because I had this whole he loved classic rock, and I thought classic rock was. I was in the camp of Johnny Marr, where it was like distortion is a little too macho. It's a little too like.
Johnny Marr is the
guitar player, the Smiths,
right?
Yeah, and we always kind of butt heads.
I always say our taste is like a Venn diagram, where it's like I'm all on this side and Tim's all on this side, and there's like this tiny overlap where like we agree, and then the rest is us just like fighting like about what it's
100%. Yeah, he hates Bruce Springsteen. But
you hate Bruce Springsteen?
I don't listen to him, but Tim loves him.
Yeah,
we're gonna clip this.
Great clip. But what have got me on the Led Zeppelin though, when I was like, all right, Mop, you win. They have great lore. There's so much lore.
Because that's what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Because this like a Easter egg theme. I think today there are people still talking about the logos of Led Zeppelin, those symbols. Like that's what do they mean? This thing happening to Robert Plant of, his kid and everything.
Oh yeah.
People were like obsessed with maybe some I don't know, some.
There's so many
demon stuff, or and I think that's do you think that's what you mean with this kind of
100%? Yeah, I think that style and then into the internet space. I think 'cause, we also grew up in a time. It's kind of funny. I mean, this is a big thing people are talking about now, where the internet before, I would say before Facebook, basically, before everything was like centralized on like social media, it was way more of this like Wild West. There was there was like forums, and there was you had to dig, and there was it was not that it was a scary place, but it felt like the wilderness basically. I think we want to bring back elements of like that world. I think it's like what we've just grew up with, so it's that kind of like there's a song out by us on the internet, and it's behind all these closed doors and sending people in that world, and I don't know, just lore is everything. It is what. It's the secret sauce of being in a band.
and have you heard about this lore of, I don't know, some bands like Gorillaz or
exactly?
I think 21 Pilots even have like a
they do a great job.
A deep lore that they drop just an image.
Yeah,
and people spend months trying to figure out what that image means, and this line could means.
Sometimes it means nothing.
Yeah. But
it just makes it fun to be a fan, like I'm like, I feel like I've been really big into that new artist McGee recently, and
Yeah,
it's just
McGee.
such a there's so much lore. He's like this wizard character, and that's what it's about. It's just people. I saw people do like these fantasy drawings of him and stuff, and it's just like it's just so cool. Like, I think that there's a lot of bands that do it well, in different genres. I think that band 1975 does it really well. They have like a nice like world around them.
Do they have a lore?
I think they got like a nice little like they do a lot of pageantry, and I think it's cool when bands do that.
I love that word, lore.
Lore, yeah, it's everything.
in where at least in Spanish it's pronounced lore.
Lore, yeah.
They used to say and it's a yeah, it's a pretty funny word. But okay, just to start wrapping it up, are you guys nervous about the Corona capital?
No,
No,
it's actually
You're
yeah.
ready.
It was
you're
funny. Like we played our first festival in August in London, and I think it was like this new thing. We'd never played one before. So, and then as soon as we like started the first song and saw the crowd and like heard the sound of like the festival versus like it's so much better than like what we were used to. We're just like, oh, like this is like what we've all been waiting for. Like this is just like what we want. So every time since then, I feel like it's just gets like easier and easier and like just more fun.
It's way less nerve-wracking to play to a sea of people who enjoy music than 12 hipsters at a bar.
Yeah, when
because-
like nothing's working,
Yeah.
and it's like it's just so smooth with the festival. Like everything's so like pro level that like you can just
Because-
enjoy it.
Yeah.
because there's a lot of people out there that of course do not know you,
Mhm.
and I think it's cool to not know you because they got the chance to know. But I think that in a festival usually people goes with an open mind
Exactly.
to discover new
Yeah.
music because of course I don't know, there's got to be a lot of people going on Sunday because
Mhm.
you're playing on Sunday, of course, because of Paul McCartney, right? So they got the chance to let's hear
Yeah.
what's there and Monobloc and something like that. So yeah, I think it's going to be pretty cool. And talking about again McCartney, how does it feel to share a festival day with? Because I'm not sure. I think it's the first time ever that McCartney does a setup in the festival. I'm not sure.
Interesting.
In Mexico or just
I
Any
think
festival?
ever.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Well, it's funny for me because going back to what I was talking about at the beginning is my first concert was Paul McCartney when I was like 9
Your
years
first
old.
concert was
Yeah, my dad took me and my brother because he was just a huge fan. He was like playing in DC at like FedEx Field, which is like a huge like football stadium. And I was like so young, but I remember like little bits of it and like just how like I thought he was like such a good performer and like he's like even back then he was like kind of an old guy and he's just like sweating, like playing like 2.5 hours, like all these songs, and you're just like, wow, like that's just like so crazy as an artist that you can like do that
Yeah.
still, And so like now fast forward like 15 years or whatever, and it's like, oh, now I'm like playing a show with that guy. It's like pretty unreal.
Yeah, I think he's such a, I'm not even the biggest. I'm not. I'm not. I'm familiar with the Beatles, of course, but I'm not like I don't study them. But yeah, it's just such. I mean, when you say you're playing with Paul McCartney, even though it's not really playing with Paul McCartney,
It's Paul McCartney.
but
right?
it's like it's like he's like it's this like demigod of music. It's something you can kind of show your parents and be like, this is real. Yeah, like you're like because people are wondering like. Sometimes it just confuses everybody more because you have friends calling you up being like, is this a joke? Is it like a Photoshop thing you're doing to me right now? Like, that's
it's-
bit surreal.
Yeah,
We
definitely.
unfortunately won't be able to see his set though.
you won't.
No,
I have to fly back.
plane is booked right before him.
So you will finish your set and then you're leaving.
We hooked it up where we're gonna stay at the festival until they're gonna take us from there. So I think the last guy we can see is Iggy Pop. So that's how I know it's gonna end
yeah,
with Bob,
I
yeah.
mean, okay. So just to wrap this up, it's the time for the recommendations.
Yes.
Do you have any music you're listening? I find that this is a pretty hard part for the host of the podcast because I mean it's very hard to know all the music projects, right? And usually they say names that
Mm.
we don't know, so but you can go ahead and whatever you're listening to.
Yeah.
If there's even a, I don't know, a TV series, a movie, whatever you want to drop.
Well, we just saw this band called Julie.
Julie.
Went to their concert in New York. I thought that was really good. Kind of like shoegaze grunge band. Like, yeah, just really like high energy, like good bass lines. Like the drummer has like he's like the coolest drummer I've ever seen. Where he just has he's like stays like so still the whole time and just like has all the drums super low and he like just looks really cool when he plays and yeah, they were good.
What do you think Zach would think about this?
Zach, I told Zach. I was like, you got to check out this drummer and like because I was like, it just has such a good like it's like aura, where you're just like I just love like I'm looking at him more than like the singer sometimes because like he just has like this look down, and the music is sick too, kind of like Sonic Youth but like of today. And we just met this band in Iceland actually called Mary in the Junkyard, from London. They are really good. It's like I think a 3-piece, and they like live violin and like bass and drums, and they just create this like nice, like it's like a rock band, like post-punk band, but it's like this totally like unique texture live where it like like they don't really have like guitar, I guess. And we were like playing like this venue with them in Iceland and just like got to meet them and stuff, and they were really cool. So I'm definitely like listening to them a lot now. Yeah. What about you?
I feel like you handle like the new up and coming artist. I would say it's like some records that I like. Anything by the Cleaners from Venus.
That's a good one.
It's just like these post-punk songs out of like the 70s and 80s, and he was just a songwriter somewhere out in England. I don't know his exact hometown, but it's all gold, and it was all recorded on like a 4-track, and it's like you have no. I'm like, how did you make these soundscapes with that? Or maybe it was an 8-track, but definitely.
No, he was like the original like. He did everything himself, or he just like had a home studio like before that was like so common, and he just like did everything like his own way, and it created this like nothing else really sounds like it, and so it's really good to listen to, and you always can like get an idea for something just because he has so many like unique sounds and everything. If
there was a pipeline from like the Smiths to Mac DeMarco, he'd be like at the halfway point. It's like how it got there. I don't know. I think that's definitely. McGee, of course. I feel like being a musician right now, you always want to act like you're not fanboying, but you probably are fanboying. Don't use the McGee tone. You gotta tell yourself no, like don't. It's not yours. But yeah, that's our Rex.
Okay, so that's it. That's
Cool.
been the mixtape. Muchas gracias por ver completo. No olviden suscribirse y darle like.
Thank you.
Gracias.
T-minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, how you guys do? You ready? In the mixtape.